I'm definitely going to have to start drinking again.
The moment Landman Season 3 trailer drops, every single fan is going to be looking at one thing, and it is not Tommy Norris. It is Cooper. Because after everything that went down in Season 2, Cooper is walking into Season 3 with a target on his back, and I genuinely do not think he even knows how serious that target is. And that is exactly what makes this so terrifying, let's be honest. Landman has been one of the most talked about shows since it first arrived, and a huge part of that is because Taylor Sheridan knows exactly how to keep his audience on the edge. Every season, every episode, every single scene feels like it is building towards something massive. And now that Season 3 is officially in production and moving faster than anyone expected, the conversation around what this trailer is going to look like has been absolutely electric. Fans are not just excited, they are anxious. Because after the way Season 2 ended, there is a very real sense that Season 3 is not going to give anyone a break. Not the characters, and definitely not us. Now when we talk about what this trailer needs to deliver, the first thing that comes to mind is tone. Because Season 3 is fundamentally different from everything that came before it. For the first time in this entire show, Tommy Norris is not working inside someone else's empire. He is building his own. He named Cooper as president. He brought Rebecca in as COO and chief counsel. He has Nate handling finances, and he has boss Dale and Thomas overseeing operations. On paper, this is the strongest position Tommy has ever been in. And yet, when I think about how Taylor Sheridan tells his stories, that strength is exactly what scares me. Because in his world, the higher you climb, the harder the fall. And the trailer, whenever it drops, is going to be our very first real look at just how high these characters have climbed before everything starts coming apart. What I expect from this trailer is that it is going to open with something that feels almost too good. Maybe a glimpse of the new company. Maybe Tommy in a boardroom, finally in control, finally calling the shots for himself. Maybe a shot of Cooper looking like he belongs, like he has finally found his footing in this world that has always felt slightly too big for him. And for about 30 seconds, the audience is going to feel genuinely hopeful. That is the Sheridan formula. He lets you breathe just long enough to make you forget that you should not be breathing at all. But then something shifts, because that is always how it goes. The music changes, the cuts get faster, and suddenly the trailer is not showing you a success story anymore. It is showing you a pressure cooker. And right in the middle of all of that pressure, I fully expect Cooper to be the one who looks the most exposed. Not because he is weak, not because he does not deserve his title, but because of what is still unresolved from Season 2. Because there are people out there who are not satisfied with how things ended. And a trailer that does not acknowledge that unresolved tension would honestly be a missed opportunity. Think about what the Season 3 trailer has to accomplish. It has to reintroduce this world to casual viewers while reminding dedicated fans why they never stop thinking about this show. It has to establish the new company as a real power player in the oil business while also making clear that this new power comes with new enemies. And most importantly, it has to make Cooper's situation feel urgent. Not as a side story, not as background drama, but as one of the central emotional engines of the entire season. Because if the trailer does its job right, by the time it ends, every single viewer is going to be asking the same question. Is Cooper going to make it through Season 3? Being president of a brand new oil company sounds like the ultimate win. And in any other show with any other writer, it probably would be. You would get the triumphant music, the confident stride, the sense that a character has finally arrived at the place they were always meant to be. But this is Landman, and this is Taylor Sheridan. And if there is one thing this show has taught us over and over again, it is that a title without armor is just a bigger target. And right now, Cooper Norris is carrying the biggest title he has ever had without nearly enough armor to protect himself from what is coming. Let me explain why this promotion worries me more than it excites me. Cooper's entire journey throughout this show has been about finding his place. He came into this world as Tommy's son, which means he had the connection but not the credibility. He had the name but not the experience. And every single time he tried to prove himself, something went wrong. He made mistakes that cost him. He ended up in situations that were way over his head. He struggled in ways that were painful to watch because you could see how desperately he wanted to belong in this world. And now, suddenly, he is president. He went from trying to survive the oil business to being asked to lead inside it. And that jump, as exciting as it sounds, is enormous. The pressure that comes with this role is not just professional, it is personal. Because Cooper is not stepping into a stable, established company with systems already in place. He is stepping into something brand new, something that has no history, no proven track record, and no safety net. Every decision he makes in the early days of this company is going to matter more than it would anywhere else. One bad deal, one wrong call, one moment of hesitation at the wrong time, and it does not just affect him. It affects Tommy. It affects Rebecca. It affects every single person who believed in this company enough to join it. That is a weight that would challenge even the most experienced executive. And Cooper, for all his growth, is still learning. And here is the part that really concerns me when I think about what the Season 3 trailer is going to show us. Tommy named himself vice president. But we all know what that actually means. Tommy Norris does not do anything halfway. He is not going to sit back and let Cooper navigate every storm alone. He is going to be right there, involved in negotiations, involved in conflicts, involved in every crisis that hits this new company. And while that support is obviously valuable, it also creates a very complicated dynamic. Because at some point, Cooper is going to want to prove that he can handle things on his own. He is going to want to step out from his father's shadow and make decisions that are entirely his. And when that moment comes, when Cooper decides to go his own way on something important, that is when things are going to get really interesting and really dangerous, because the oil business does not forgive inexperience. It does not give you a grace period while you figure things out. The people they are going to be dealing with in Season 3, the rivals, the established players, the people who see this new company as either a threat or an opportunity to exploit. None of them are going to go easy on Cooper because he is young or because this is his first time in the big chair. They're going to test him immediately and aggressively. And if the trailer gives us even a glimpse of Cooper in a high-stakes negotiation or a confrontation that he was not fully prepared for, it is going to confirm every fear I already have about his safety this season. But the professional pressure, as serious as it is honestly not even the thing that worries me most about Cooper heading into Season 3, because there is something darker sitting underneath all of this. Something that did not get resolved the way everyone seemed to think it did. And once you start pulling on that thread, everything about Cooper's situation looks a lot more fragile than it appears on the surface. Here is the thing about closed cases. They are only closed on paper. The legal system can wrap something up, stamp it finished, and move on to the next file. But the people connected to that case, the ones who lost something, the ones who feel like justice did not actually land where it was supposed to, they do not close that easily. And that is exactly the situation Cooper is walking into Season 3 with. Because yes, the investigation is over. Yes, legally speaking, Cooper is in the clear. But I have been thinking about this since the Season 2 finale, and I genuinely do not believe this story is finished. Not even close. Let me take you back to what actually happened. Ariana was attacked. The man responsible ended up dead in a back alley. Cooper was investigated. And after everything, the case was closed with Cooper not being found guilty, because he was not even the direct reason that men died in the first place. On the surface, that sounds like a resolution. It sounds like the kind of ending that lets a character breathe again and move forward. But when you look closer at the details, when you really sit with what was revealed during that investigation, a very different picture starts to form. Because that attacker was not just some random person. He had connections. He had influence. He had people around him who cared about what happened to him, and who were deeply disturbed when he ended up in that alley. And I keep coming back to one specific detail that stood out to me more than anything else in that entire storyline. The way the detectives pursued that case was aggressive. Unusually aggressive. They did not approach it like a routine investigation. They approached it like they were under pressure to find someone to blame. And when you think about why that might be, when you think about the kind of influence the victim apparently had, it starts to make a lot more sense. Those detectives were not just doing their jobs. They were answering to something, or someone. And the fact that the case ended without a conviction did not make that pressure disappear. It just redirected it. So when I think about what the season 3 trailer might hint at, one of the things I am most alert to is any moment that suggests Cooper is being watched. Not investigated officially, not pursued through the legal system, but watched, followed, targeted quietly by people who operate outside the courtroom and outside the rules. Because that is how revenge works in Taylor Sheridan's world. It does not come through official channels. It does not announce itself. It builds quietly in the background while the target is busy celebrating their new title or planning their future. And then it arrives at the worst possible moment. The people connected to Ariana's attacker did not just lose someone they knew. They lost someone with power. Someone who, in their world, was important. And in the kind of circles that man ran in, losing someone like that without anyone being held accountable is not something that just gets accepted and forgotten. That is the kind of loss that demands a response. And the response does not have to be loud or immediate. It can be patient. It can be calculated. It can wait until Cooper has the most to lose before it strikes. And right now, heading into season 3, Cooper has more to lose than he has ever had in his entire life. He has the title. He has the company. He has Ariana. He has a future that is finally starting to look like something real and something worth protecting. And all of that, every single piece of it, becomes a vulnerability the moment someone decides to use it against him. Because when you want to hurt someone the most, you do not go after them directly. You go after everything they have built. You go after the things they love. You make them watch it fall apart before you deliver the final blow. And I think that is exactly the kind of threat Cooper is going to be facing this season. Not a frontal attack. A slow, deliberate dismantling of everything he has worked for. There is a specific kind of dread that only exists in prestige television. It is the dread you feel when a character you have been rooting for finally gets everything they wanted. Because you just know, that the moment a character reaches their happiest point, the writers are already sharpening the knife. And right now, when I look at Cooper and Ariana heading into season 3, that dread is sitting in my chest like a stone. Because these two have been through so much. They have survived things that would have destroyed most couples. And now, on the other side of all that pain, they are finally in a place that feels solid, that feels real. And that terrifies me more than anything else about this season. Think about what Cooper and Ariana have actually been through together. Their relationship was tested from almost the very beginning. The attack on Ariana was not just a traumatic event in isolation. It became the central crisis that defined their entire dynamic for an entire season. It put Cooper in legal danger. It forced both of them to confront questions about loyalty, about protection, about what you are actually willing to do for the person you love. And they came out the other side still standing, still together, still choosing each other. That is not nothing. That is actually everything. And the fact that they survived all of that makes their relationship feel earned in a way that very few TV couples ever actually achieve. And now they are building something together. Not just personally, but professionally. Ariana is joining the company. She is going to be part of this new chapter that Tommy is building from the ground up. Which means Cooper and Ariana are not just partners in life anymore. They are partners in work. They are going to be spending every single day together. Building something that matters. Working toward a future that they can both be proud of. And on paper, that sounds absolutely beautiful. But in practice, in the world of Landman, mixing personal and professional in that kind of deep and total way is exactly the kind of setup that leaves people exposed. Because now if something goes wrong at work, it does not just affect the company. It affects their relationship. And if something goes wrong in their relationship, it does not just stay at home. It walks into the office with them every single morning. But here is where my anxiety really spikes. Because before season 2 ended, the conversation about marriage was already happening. Cooper and Ariana were already talking about that next step. And everything about their trajectory heading into season 3 is pointing in one direction. A wedding. And I genuinely believe that season 3 could give us that wedding. I think the writers are building toward it deliberately. I think it is going to happen. And I think it is going to be one of the most emotionally loaded moments this show has ever attempted. Because a wedding on Landman is not just a celebration, it is a countdown.